Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Prehistoric Kingdom Alpha. Here we are in my desert mini park, and today we are going to move on to a much bigger dinosaur, one that I have not built for yet in any of my Prehistoric Kingdom content, and that is the Deinocheirus. It's been requested quite a lot of times by quite a few people in my subscriber list, or I'm not sure if they're subscribed to be honest, but definitely in the comments, and I'm finally ready to build a habitat for them. I've been looking quite a lot online for some architecture that I can kind of model my build off. I want to kind of head this way a little bit into the park. I was thinking perhaps I could go off to the right hand side here and maybe build their habitat in behind here. The reason I'm not going to do that is because the Deinocheirus, I think they like quite a bit of water, or at least in all the pictures that I've seen them in, there is water involved. So I'm going to extend this kind of pool a little bit and make it part of their habitat. I'm really excited for the building I'm going to build today. It's kind of like a mashup between two different pictures that I found. I really can't wait to see what it's going to look like. A lot of the times when I build from a reference picture, just while I'm talking to you, I'm just going to get started here a little bit. A lot of the times when I build from a reference picture, I end up really not, I guess my builds look nothing like what the picture itself looks like. So this one, for example, here, this little this little shelter, I suppose, to look out on the Protoceratops, looks nothing like what the picture was like. I'll pop a picture in here for you to see what I was actually looking at, but it ended up looking nothing like what I was looking at, but I think it ended up looking quite cool and a little bit unique and not like anything I've built before. So I'm just going to hop into a speed build, but I am going to talk into the speed build a little bit about the Deinocheirus itself, and chat to you guys about how it got its name and what I am going to do for the habitat. I'll also talk about some of the discoveries that have been made with regards to Deinocheirus fossils, and I will chat to you a little bit about the possible next episode for this series. So stick around for that, and I will see you in the speed build. Thanks for joining me, guys. Well, hey guys, let's talk about our friend the Deinocheirus, just while I start building this little viewing platform for the habitat itself. I found out some things about the Deinocheirus that I actually thought were kind of interesting. So in 1965, they found the first kind of fossil of the Deinocheirus, but all they actually found were like the arms and the hands attached, and there was no other part of the dinosaur's body. So they ended up calling it the Deinocheirus. That translates in English into terrible hands. I'll pop a picture in here of the original fossil that they found, and then later on they did find the rest of the body, and it ended up being really like a very interesting looking dinosaur. Like, it had that duck bill and that humped back. So one of the most kind of unique dinosaurs that we see in fossils, well, in my opinion, today. They also, I think the original fossil was found in Mongolia. They lived to be 10, possibly up to 11 meters long. I'll pop a picture in here of like a size reference so you can see kind of how big that is. I thought it was amazing, like how big it was. It ended up that they turned out to be, I think, omnivores. Their fossils ended up revealing clues to their diet. So their skulls showed adaptations for eating plants, like their duck bill, but then their stomach revealed traces of fish, which also kind of suggests that it lived in those wet habitats, which I talked about a bit earlier, which is why obviously I was seeing a bunch of pictures of these dinosaurs in habitats. And it also used its claws for multiple roles, according to some of the information that I read online. Another interesting fact that I found out about the Deinocheirus is that although it wasn't a fast runner, because it was quite big, quite hefty, its large size and its really long claws kind of helped it to defend itself. So a lot of the information that I have read have basically explained that healthy adult Deinocheirus were unlikely to have any predators, or very, very minimal predators, except potentially the Tyrannosaurus. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, these little guys were quite unique looking, but also, you know, were able to defend themselves, which I quite like about them. I think that's kind of cool. So as you can see now in my building, I'm still building the viewing area. I end up moving on soon to the lift. I end up putting a lift into this building because I want people who aren't able to traverse stairs to be able to get up into the viewing building. And I didn't want to put ramps into every single building. And this building really lent itself nicely to a lift being at the back. So I ended up doing that. I also ended up making this habitat a little bit of a tiered habitat, similar to the Protoceratops, but much, much bigger, because these dinosaurs are quite big. I also had to end up measuring out kind of how tall the viewing building was, because it ended up being smaller than what I anticipated, simply because I forgot to put my little the pillar that kind of shows how big the people are. I forgot to put that in when I was building this. I really need to remember to do that, because you just don't have any idea in Prehistoric Kingdom. And usually I build things way, way, way too big. But for this one, I actually built it far too small. So I ended up putting in 2 of these viewing buildings because there just wouldn't be enough room otherwise. And I had to, like I was saying earlier, I actually had to measure out, because it's a small viewing building, I had to actually sit it up on a little bit of a hill. Otherwise the Deinocheirus would literally just be able to stick their whole head in and chomp on the guests. Not that they would eat the guests, but they would be able to stick their head in and have a good look around in the actual viewing building, which is probably not something that you'd be keen to have happen, like have a 10-metre long dinosaur stick their head into where you're standing. So I had to measure that out, and it ended up coming out quite well. I ended up putting a platform on the side of the viewing buildings and some nice planters as well. I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of the speed build in peace, and I'll turn up some music for you. I think there's only about 7 minutes left of the speed build, and then I will do a tour for you. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the real time part. Well, hey all, welcome back from the speed build, and here we are in the entrance plaza. We're kind of near the custom tables right here and the restaurant behind us. We're going to head on down to the Deinocheirus habitat now and the 2 viewing platforms that I built. So let's just head on past the Protoceratops viewing area here, and we're going to head down. Ignore the right hand side, that will eventually be something incredible, but at the moment we're just going to head on up here. So we're going to head up the stairs and up into the Deinocheirus viewing area. So here we've got, like, I guess a little bit of a landing area, and it's nice and open, some shade sails and so on, and some seating for guests to sit at. When I was building this building, I stupidly didn't have my little I guess human-sized concrete pillar next to the building. So I was originally just going to have one of these viewing areas, but they actually aren't very big in comparison to the people. Like, you could probably have maybe 30 people up here at one time, and I thought, well, that's probably not enough. So I put in a second one, and as I was building it, I was like, oh, what would kind of help the flow of people on these platforms? And I have put stairs on both sides of the viewing platforms, so we can go up into this one here, and you can see you can kind of go down the other side here as well. And so here we are in the viewing area. I've also put these metal bars on the edges so the guests can't kind of, if anyone accidentally does fall over, which, I mean, they would literally have to climb over this, but if they did, they can't sort of fall into the Deinocheirus habitat. I did make the Deinocheirus habitat a little bit more sort of green and lush than probably what most of the other habitats will be like in this park. It is quite big because the Deinocheirus is actually quite a big dinosaur. I would have talked about it a little bit in the speed build, so I wanted it to kind of be big enough to have maybe 5-ish Deinocheirus in here. And then I've got lots of water, as I spoke about in the speed build. They're sort of, all the pictures I've seen of them, it's nice and lush and lots of water. So a nice tiered sort of water area for them here as well. I also will just quickly take you in the habitat for a minute. You would have seen me popping in these grates and like a base into the pools, I guess. I wanted to try and make this park a little bit more realistic than my last. So really I should have probably sealed off all of these pools, but that's a lot of work. And given that we're just in alpha at the moment, I thought I'll just sort of give it a nod to realism by putting in these grates and also the base in there so that it can be drained and it can be refilled. Something else with a nod to realism is I've also put over here in the back of the habitat a entrance for the dinosaurs. So a little bit different to the Protoceratops one, simply because the Protoceratops is such a small dinosaur that I don't think we really needed like a holding building for them. Whereas here the Deinocheirus are very tall, very big, and so I've popped in this holding building with the big door, and then you've got like the entrance for the keepers on the other side. And then it sort of does go around, so it's on both sides. And then you've got a keeper walkway up through here, and you've also got a keeper walkway back here. So then I think you probably have like a bunch of keeper buildings here, or you could put, or I can put them probably back here. And once I get another habitat in here. So let's have a quick look at the rest of the viewing area for the Deinocheirus. So if we head back into the building that we were just in, we'll trot across here, and we've got this little implied sign on the side here. And then on this building, there's actually an elevator, because as I was saying in one of my earlier episodes, I want to really try and think about people that can't traverse stairs or use stairs very easily. And I would have really struggled to put a whole bunch of ramps into this particular viewing area, simply because, you know, I would have had to have a ramp up to here, then a ramp up to there and this side and back down again. I just wanted to keep it fairly simple. So I thought I'll give it a go, put a lift shaft in. So I've popped a lift in, and they can get up onto this viewing platform. So they can still get up on a viewing platform. I did purposefully put it onto this particular viewing platform, because I think a lot of people that can, you know, easily walk upstairs, they'll come up here and they'll go to this viewing platform first because it's the closest. So this one's probably going to be a little bit quieter and maybe a little bit more space. So you can get over here, you can just kind of walk around this way and then hop in the lift, and then people that I guess are putting people in the lift that are elderly or in a wheelchair or can't traverse the stairs, maybe injuries, then they can come up here and then go up the stairs there if there isn't enough room in the lift. So that is what we got done today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, commenting and subscribing. I really appreciate all of your comments. It's so much fun to chat to you guys on YouTube. I really, really enjoy it. If you have a dinosaur request for this park, feel free to drop that in the comments. I'd be really interested to see what you guys would like to see in this park. There won't be heaps and heaps of episodes. I'm going to keep going until just before beta's released on the 4th of December. So I think we're looking at probably all in all about 12 episodes altogether. So, and the last episode, which will be the 13th, will probably be a tour. So let me know in the comments what you'd like to see, what you think I can improve on, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.